I don't love it, but I went with it anyway because I figured we could try it. We could see how this goes.
How about, how do you make 7 even?
How do you make 7 even?
Take away the S.
You killed yourself with that one.
I did.
How are we looking? Am I looking non-glitchy?
A little bit. And little. I think we might be able to. We'll see how it rolls.
Okay. Let's see how it rolls.
And then
to be fair, I'm glitchy in real life, so.
The Matrix. Hi guys. Hey guys. We're back. I know you missed us.
Of course they missed us. Everybody misses us.
I know. Look at us.
Wouldn't they? Well, thanks for returning back to the Elder Elves, a murder mystery podcast where we investigate true crimes with help from our friend Keith Morrison. Oh no, wait, that's the other podcast we do. Sorry.
Oh right.
No. Oh. Sorry.
This is the podcast where we deep dive.
No, that's the other one.
That's our swimming podcast.
Yeah, this is our audio only fans podcast. No, that's the other. Oh man, hang on, so many. Okay,
ASMR.
Where we're old gamers and we play games, and we are wrapping up. Well, we have wrapped up Tether. Which is our little 2-person TTRPG that we've been playing. It's right there. It was created by a guy named Adam Baffoni. The link is in the description if you want to get it and you want to play it. And if you do want to get it and you do want to play it and you are playing it, tell us in whatever fashion you want, preferably something that sparks engagement on the algorithm so that other people can find us. You can do that by commenting, by following us, by subscribing, by taking it and putting it on an iPad and throwing that iPad at another human being. That is a good way to share our content.
You can also do Morse code if you really want to.
Yeah, Morse code. Yeah, sure.
A little bit of.
Also, don't hold me liable if you do throw an iPad at anybody. I'm telling, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't.
Legally speaking.
But if you do.
But if you do, make sure our show is on it.
Yeah, make sure Colin is paused on the video, like right there.
This is a little wrap-up episode that we thought we would do and just come on and chit-chat about what we thought of the game and what we would do different, and what we might do the same, and see how we ended up feeling about the story we told and the game in general and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now that it's over.
Well, what do you think? I think we talked a little bit about what you might have done a little differently last time. Let's start at like kind of the beginning. The opening of this was a unknown narrator saying, TLDR, good luck. That's what the kids say.
Yeah, basically. That's what the kids say.
That's my new line is what I like. I'll say something and then I'll say, "That's what the kids say."
That's what the kids say.
Yeah.
You just make
the children say them.
That's what the kids say.
That's what as the kids say. I did do that today. I said GTG.
Yeah.
You know, as the kids say.
As the kids say.
As the kids say.
Yeah, the beginning of the game. I think I would have done kind of what I touched on before and just had a little different of a story going into it, and maybe a little bit more of like an audience proxy of a character to kind of stumble into the city, to the town, because I feel like that would have given the story a little bit more of a surprise aspect, kind of going into it more of a natural like lead in to this town being weird and you not knowing. And it would be nice for the audience to kind of have a lead in with that. I also think now that we've played it and I have the prompts and everything that we've gone through, I think I would have given a little bit more consideration to the ending of the game when we were coming up with the beginning.
Yeah. I mean,
because you
to be fair, we kind of like we had the layout, like the narrator's layout of this is what it is, here's the bones, go for it. And we kind of went, that's nice. And I think that I would have probably pulled more of that the initial narration into the rapping that I did.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that it was... There wasn't really... I wrote myself a little bit into a corner. I had some ideas of getting out, if that's, or different... a different take on it. But I really was just... Like, for me, I was just following your lead and seeing what you were doing and trying to keep our narration tethered and also to make sure that that I at least, and I think you did it too, that we gave each other a hand. Like, oh, how am I going to write this? Oh, well, here's some strings. Here's some strings, my friend. Good luck. Figure that out.
Yeah.
And I think we did that really well. I think our weakness in the whole thing was to ignore what the initial, like, oh, here are the rules. And we kind of moved along. But I think that the plot, I don't know, I think it worked really well. I think ultimately for what we did, for never playing this game, my cat.
The cat's right there.
I know, she just
playing with us.
She wanted to say hi. But I think that for not playing, like never playing this game, not really knowing exactly how we wanted to go, I think for the first walkthrough of what we'd done, those 17 weeks.
Yes.
Because we've done one every week. So for 17, holy crap, really? 17 weeks we've played this, right? It's
right?
once a week.
Really?
Every Tuesday. We had 17 entries. Oh, wow. Yeah. We really did.
More than I expected.
I didn't think we would run it that long, I mean, we knew going into it how long it was supposed to be, but I don't think we just wrapped around our brain bits that's what it was going to be.
No, I don't.
I think if we were to...
I think I agree with you on those things. I do think the riding us into a corner... I know you're just a cat tail. It's just like poking you. I think
I'm not a cat.
It was hard to not write certain aspects into a corner because we intended on playing it blind because we didn't look ahead to any of the prompts. So we did play it kind of blind, and where I think we probably would have gone back if we were writing like a book together, we would have gone back and pruned a couple of things and cinched some things. But when you're in it, you kind of have to either choose to ignore certain things or write them in or justify them or whatever. And it's really a matter of like, it's story ping pong because it's going back and forth between the two of us.
Right.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who played it very different ways than how we played it, which may work way better. Now there's just a cat. The cattail has gone from the background to the foreground.
Sorry, she's like, anytime I'm doing anything over here, she just wants to be in it.
She's a little feisty.
She is.
Meowing earlier and everything. But yeah, this is kind of one of those things where the more you play it, probably more the polished aspect you get. And I bet, depending on the person you do it with, you can probably have better or worse results.
Right.
Because
well,
it all depends on who your partner is.
And the prompts you get. Though you could...
And the prompt.
I was just thinking this. You could literally, instead of starting all over again, we could, in a year or whatever we wanted to come back to it, leave the story as is, and then start all over with this as the blueprint. So your ending is the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, and then we switch, and you're the past now, and I'm the present.
Oh yeah, that could be interesting. I'm wondering if there's timelines or eras. I think eras is probably the better way to go. I wonder if there's like eras that lend itself better or worse to this.
I think like
I don't know.
I think there's always something creepy about like people like to like for instance Stephen King did like the 50s with the 50s-ish whatever.
Yeah.
Which is that home, what is it? It's like there's a lot of stuff going on in that era. There was like people getting blacklisted for all sorts of things, homosexuality and communism and all that stuff, because they wanted the wholesome America.
Yeah.
So in some ways, 1950s does lend well. Oh my God! Hold on, I gotta move. The Cold War, panic. Yeah. 1930s, totally. Like with world, like everyone leaving. Also, like the Great Depression, and everyone's like hopping trains and like. Oh my gosh, my sorry guys, my cat is my cat does not usually get all this obsessive, but she's like,
yeah, she's like,
can you stop, lady? I love you though. Thank you. All right. Oh my God.
Stop it, lady. Stop it. Wow.
I know now she's.
Yeah, you're right. Those would all be really interesting and cool times to do. I think there's and people make jokes about this all the time when you go back and watch like sitcoms from the 90s and everything like that. And they're like, oh, a cell phone could solve that problem. Like the majority of episodes, like just modern technology could solve it. There is something about going back to a time when you didn't have the internet or access to just being able to call somebody really easily that make it a little bit more what's the word? Make like it just a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like your character had that aspect. Like in a way, even though I didn't really need it or use it, but like my character was in a time or started in a time, she's meowing now, actively meowing. Mine was in a time where like all that did exist. So it's almost everything's less scary because the world feels more observed and watched in a way, whereas your character, you know, there's a secrecy element to things that you don't know, that are kind of in the dark, and I think that lends itself really well to like the idea of the terror.
I think what happens when there's a couple ways you could look at it though. Like with technology, we could have gone in a like futuristic way in terms of like the terror is embodying electronic. Because what's another stream you can get involved in? It doesn't have to be water, right? What's another like?
Yeah, that's true.
You
It's
know,
true.
it's figured out.
Yeah, almost make it like a Matrix.
Yeah, it's
kinda
figured
thing,
out. It's
in a
figured
way.
out the broadband stream. You know, it's
Yeah, that could be interesting.
that kind of computerization. Like X-Files did a couple episodes where it's like the computer is the problem,
Yeah.
or if someone's a ghost in the machine. That futuristic AI, here we come.
Actually, now that you mention X-Files, I think that's a really good example of something that started before technology advanced and moved into technology advancing. And you could really make an argument that the earlier episodes of the X-Files are much more scary than the later stuff. And part of it is because you don't there's an element of seclusiveness that isn't as much around anymore, globally speaking.
Well, anytime your cell phone dies,
I
though.
think that's a great idea. Yeah.
I was reading, like, a little thing popped up today on my phone that was like, if we get hit with a solar storm, we could lose our internet for 7 years or something, 17 years, something crazy. And I was like, oh, damn. Well, what would that be like now, without internet? Think of all the technology, like the information that has been advanced. Never mind, like, all the military stuff.
Yeah.
But everything that we have, like all of our, they've moved our money into a digital format, not monetary, like tangible, and they've talked about like the like what that would look like in those terms, like almost bleak endings. And when we get into these games, like all these, like, because we have other ones that we want to do, we get to explore that kind of horror show, I guess, that can happen, because there is, as much as there's like technology is so advanced, and maybe like the nostalgia days of like us playing outside into the dark was whatever, or even X-Files in that early era, there's something to be said about like I do have everything, and then suddenly I'm getting all these like random texts showing up, your camera being hacked, your being those Apple tags are being found on your cars. Like, there's a lot of really scary stuff technology wise that we could have kind of touched base on, but there's also that like seclusion thing too, that there's spots where there's no cell phone service, and even now that's scary. Like, there's what happens if someone comes after you and you can't call out, there's no 911.
It's arguably like more scary now, because I remember when we first moved to New England, we went to Six Flags and we took how did we get there? I don't remember how we got there, but for some reason going home, we were taking 44 the whole way home, which is more of like a rural highway instead of like just taking 95 or whatever it was. I don't remember why we did it, but we did it. And this was before we had smartphones. We had cell phones, but definitely before Google Maps or anything like that. And we for sure got lost at least 3 separate times, and it was dark, and then you started to not know where you were. And when you get lost in New England, like, you can legitimately end up in some scary ass places that you have no idea where you are, and you don't know if it's a good area or a bad area or anything like that. Exactly, that's exactly right. But I think losing something that you have is way worse than never having something at all. So losing the security blanket of like, oh, well, I can just turn on Google Maps even if I'm in kind of like a not great service area, might get slower, or maybe I can at least find some bars on my phone. But yeah, to lose
think
it
about the numbers that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like think of like when we were growing up, we memorized everybody's number. And if we didn't memorize it, we had a whole sheet of paper that we've written everybody's numbers down. And we would go, okay, I'm going to call this person. And you look up their number, right? Or Yellow Pages, whatever. But now everything is in your phone. One touch, boom, in your phone. Everything is there. So could you imagine if tomorrow you have like all of it goes out?
Yeah.
Like, do you know your closest people's phone numbers? So we could have played in that kind of world with Tether. And then like had this library deep dive, like them finding this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I did enjoy it. I liked that this was our first writing exercise together. It was interesting, and I liked that it was a nod to Stephen King, like the initial. And then we combined two genres, this like horror-esque and sci-fi together. And I would play it again. I would come back and do try to figure out a way to write this out. Go with a me present, you past, and you're writing as Jordan in the past now and me in the future or whatever, and just do that kind of thing.
Else there's a couple of aspects of this game mechanic in particular that I was thinking about. And I think for me, my strength lies a little bit more in like straight up improv. So when we're doing D&D and things like that, I feel like I'm better just on the fly, riffing off everybody else, instead of like sitting down and actually like thinking about what to write in this scenario and things like that. But that being said, what I do think is nice about this and interesting, you can do it with small number of people, like that's how it's designed to do. But if you really wanted to, you could expand on it. Like if there's 4 of you and you want to play it, there's nothing saying that, like, because it happens in 30-year increments. Maybe like one of you is full on, like 120 years in the past.
Right. Well, you can have 2 people writing in the past and 2 people writing in the present. Yeah. But which present are you? So it's like past number 1, past number 2, present, and then how all those combine. That would be a wild ride. If anyone does that, I would love to read it. Like that would be really fun.
Because that'd be kind of crazy. Like, maybe like you break it up into like 2 people are in the past and one person's 30 years and then one person's 60 years. So they're even further past that. And then you're kind of in the present and then you have somebody 30 years ahead of you. And, maybe you and your future person are splitting prompts and then the 2 past people are splitting different prompts. Like, yeah. Because we did a small number of prompts compared to how you break the deck up and everything like that. We only did a few. So there's a lot of different ways you could probably slice and dice it if you really wanted to.
Yeah, if you really wanted to see how far you can go with it, I'm sure you could. I mean, it's designed for 2, but you could easily expand if you really wanted to. I have talked to people that have said, there's not a lot of games, like there's board games and stuff like that, but they were talking about what other games are there? And I'm like, do you like to write? Are you into that? Well, journaling, literally I get emails all the time from a distributor, and there's so many games. There's so many creative people. There's so many games that look so interesting, and I can't wait to read a little bit. I mean, Contact is one of the ones that we're going to do in the future. This guy.
Yeah, Contact. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited about that one.
Well, and you could I know we've talked about it as like improv exercises or acting classes or writing improv writing prompts in classes. You could do something really cool and say you've got a class of X amount of students, start at one desk and just have it roll the whole way through the class. One person does that initial prompt and then another person and then another person and another person. You could either go straight through 30 years after 30 years, or maybe you could bounce back and forth and just let people kind of pick wherever they want to be. There's a few different things you could use. I think it's a great, if you're a teacher and you're looking for kind of inspiration for wild stuff to do, creatively speaking, that could be a lot of fun. Or if you've got a friend who lives like around the world and you don't get to see them, or maybe you don't get to talk to them because they're in a different time zone, a different part of the world, this is a great thing to do,
because there is no time frame that you got to write in. Colin and I gave each other space to figure it out, and we worked it out. We didn't talk to each other about it. So in case anyone, we really did. Like we did not talk about it. We thought it was important not to be like, this is what I'm doing, because we wanted each other to hear it authentically for the first time, because we are far apart. We're like 2 hours apart. So we're not even close. Good day. On a good day, I know. So it's not like I can, open my window and be like, Colin, what do you think? So this is fun. Yeah, this is really good. I'm glad that we did do it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was fun.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to wrap up really quick before we kind of outro ourselves?
I'm sorry that we didn't trigger warning as much as you all might have wanted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I potentially left a child to die. I didn't mean it, and I'm very, very sorry.
Wah, wah. That's okay.
My bad.
I'm sure everybody.
I'll do better next time with body horror, maybe. I think that'll be better. Yeah. A little bit more horror. I love monster horror and all that stuff. So hopefully I don't hurt you guys too bad in the future.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, okay, probably. Just your heart bits.
All right, this is your warning. This is your trigger warning.
Right now. In the future.
Everything.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about Mothership in the future.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So anyway.
So like we said, we're going to take just a little break. And then after that, we're going to play video games on our Twitch and our YouTube stuff. We're not going to put it on the podcast because that would be boring for you guys. So go over there to the Elder Elves and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Follow us, whatever you want to do. We're going to have fun with that. And then we'll be back and we'll play some more of these. We have a couple of other things that we want to put on the full docket of spread and read some stuff and things like that. But anyway, thank you everybody who has stuck with us for 17 weeks. That is real weird. Or is it 18 now? I guess it's 18 now.
This is 18, I think. So thank you guys.
This is either 18 or 19.
Yeah. Thanks, 3 people, for sticking with us.
There's more.
Is there more people?
There is. There's people on YouTube, and then there's people on the podcast.
There are.
I don't know how many people are on Twitch. I keep forgetting.
Thank you, 100 people. 100 and...
But thanks, everybody. And please stick with us and subscribe and everything like that. I'm a voiceover actor. You can find me at colincarlton.com or on social media thingies at Colin Carlton VO. What about you?
I'm working on being a writer, and I'm a sometimes artist, and you can find me as Obscurabrasion on most things.
Yeah. Check the show notes if you want to buy Tether. It's a cool game. It's really affordable. Very, 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 very cheap for what it is. And it's a lot of fun. We had fun with it too. I think you will too. And thanks, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great